Week 17 turned into a massive win for the Dallas Cowboys. Not only are they now 11-5, but they control their own destiny in the NFC East. Welcome into Hit Sticks, everybody, with Barry Church. I'm Kyle Yeomans, filling in for Isaiah Stanback. We've got Jesse Holley, Mr. Fourth and Long himself, ready to hit the sticks here on some Hit Sticks. Y'all ready to get after it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We're looking at Detroit and Washington this week. The Dallas Cowboys take down the Detroit Lions in Week 17, 20-19. It was one of those games where every play could have teetered or tottered in one specific direction, and it ended up in a victory for the Dallas Cowboys. But let's take a look back at this one, some of the things you can learn going into the playoffs, and one of those was near the goal line, 5-yard line. Dak Prescott under center. CeeDee Lamb is out wide, I promise. You can't see him on the screen just yet. You will in a moment. As we press snap here, a little play action here to Tony Pollard. It's a quick motion, and then you've got Dak Prescott throwing a strike to CeeDee Lamb, who has some separation on his defender. You see it about 3 yards of separation. Now he has a chance to turn upfield and hit the pylon. He does just that, but he loses the football in the process, and it's out of bounds for a touchback. So this is a huge turnover. It was a turning point in the game because the Cowboys had an opportunity to really take control early and play from ahead. We've talked about that a ton here on this show, how the Cowboys do benefit from playing from ahead. So no pressure, Jesse Holley. But your first play here on Hit Sticks, you got a chance to turn the tides and push it back in favor of the Cowboys. How can you make this successful?
Well, here's what we're looking at right here from the quarterback perspective. The Cowboys are in the red zone. And normally when you're in the red zone, you understand as an offense that everything is going to happen a tad bit quicker.
Yes.
Because you don't have the verticality to go down the football field. So you have to make sure that everything that you're doing is precise, it's condensed, and it's happening quickly. So right here, I'm going to have CD just bring him down just a tad bit on this particular play. And when you see it from the top, you're going to look at this and go, all right, single high safety up top, corner outside. Now I want to give myself some leverage so that I have a lot of space towards the outside. And what I want from CD is to make this feel like it's going to be a shallow cross. I want him to come down and have that energy like he's going actually across the field to get that defender, that DB, to kind of really get on his horse and chase him over the top. But I want to make sure for CeeDee Lamb's purposes that I do not leave the DB on my outside shoulder when I come out of this break. I want him to feel my energy like I'm going across the field, and then when I break out, I'll have all that space for Dak Prescott to now lay the football out there. He can put it on me. He can lay it out a little bit because now I know that I have all that space to catch it and turn up the football field.
And on the defensive side of the football, things happen quick, just like you just said in the red zone. It happened extremely fast. So as a DB, you want to get up in the face. You want to get hands on these receivers to throw that timing off between CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. But what I love what you did right here is you brought CeeDee down close to the formation. And what does that do to a DB? It forces him to back off a little bit because you don't want to get caught in all that traffic between the linebackers and defensive linemen if he were to go on a shallow route. So that was an extremely smart move right there, bringing CeeDee down into the formation, forcing that corner to back off a little bit and give CeeDee room to work his route. Let's see if we can get this job done.
All right, Barry, here we go.
Oh, perfect route right there. Let's check out this instant replay to show how you were able to complete that pass towards the goal line and see what we can see right here. Let's go to this instant replay. And all right, Jesse, let me and let the fans out there understand what Dak Prescott was seeing pre-snap and how CeeDee Lamb was able to execute this route to perfection.
Well, when you look to his left, let's go to the left first. Okay. Look to the left, and you're seeing, all right, I got the low safety on my left-hand side, pretty much double teaming Michael Gallup, single high safety in the back of the end zone, understanding that he now is trying to play all that area, and when you have the two side end set to the left-hand side, that tells me that CeeDee Lamb has one-to-one, man-on-man coverage on the backhand side. You bring him down in motions, and that gives me the opportunity to have almost an error to throw the ball a little bit too far, right? The covers isn't too tight, so it gives him the ability to do that. And now I know if as long as CeeDee Lamb leaves him on the inside and he comes back out of that, and the important part about that, Barry Church, is when he comes out of this break, he has to be sprinting out of this break. This isn't one of those, come out sprinting, right? It's like I want to race to the sideline because I want to run away from all those defenders. I can lay that ball out there, a simple and easy pitch and catch throw for CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. This is what they do in practice. This is what they do in warm-up. This is what they do at home. And then make sure you get in the end zone with the football.
With the football. You got to get in the end zone with the football. And on the defensive side, let's switch it around right here. One thing I've noticed about Cam Sutton right here, the corner for the Detroit Lions, you're on the inside pressure. What are you doing on the inside leverage right there? You see all your help, Jack Campbell, Anzalone, all those linebackers at the second level waiting for something to come on the inside for you. All your help's in there, so his alignment should be on that outside shade of CeeDee Lamb. That way, if CeeDee Lamb gives him any type of flavor on the inside, you have your help in there, so you don't have to bite on any of that inside maneuver, any of that inside flavor right there. As we see Cam right here playing all inside leverage like it's cover zero, and he has no help in there. When all his help, you see Anzalone, you see Jack Campbell right there sitting there waiting for CeeDee Lamb to cross their face, but instead he plays on the inside. Great route by CeeDee Lamb, like you said, put that foot in the ground, sprinted coming out of that route, catch, touchdown. He walked in there with the ball this time. Hopefully we can see some more of that come Sunday for the Dallas Cowboys.
Absolutely.
So there you have it, CeeDee Lamb with some success in the red zone as the Cowboys will look to continue to get their weapons involved going into their Week 18 matchup against the Washington Commanders. Speaking of Washington and weapons, they've got some of their own. Terry McLaurin hasn't been so scary here in 2023, but how can he continue to affect this Dallas defense when we come back?
Cowboys Hit Sticks, presented by Madden NFL 24. Is also brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, the official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys, and by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
So we've already talked about CeeDee Lamb. The Dallas Cowboys have had some weapons to utilize at their disposal on offense all season long. On the opposite side, this week against the Washington Commanders, they're going to have to contain some of those weapons. Now, we don't know who's playing quarterback. It could be Sam Howell. It could be Jacoby Brissett. Brissett battling an injury late in the week last week. He was initially named the starter and ended up being Sam Howell. But we've got Jacoby Brissett in there right now, assuming that he is the active quarterback. He's got some weapons to throw the football to. He has guys like Jahan Dotson, Terry McLaurin, and of course a couple of other guys in the backfield to throw it to as well. So Barry Church, with the Cowboys having seen some teams that have weapons in the past, where does this rank and how can they get after that Dallas defense?
I would say when you talk about the weapons on the outside with Scary Terry, McLaurin, Samuel, and the crew out there, I would say this is a top three as far as weapons on the outside that this secondary is going to have to go against for the Dallas Cowboys. When you look at it, Scary Terry, he's a jack of all trades. He can do short routes, intermediate routes, deep routes. It doesn't matter. So for me, usually I go up here and me and Dan Quinn, we think alike. We like to press our guys on the outside and get all in the face of these receivers. But what you did right here with this condensed split is going to make it hard because since we're playing man-to-man coverage out there, I don't want any pick route situation going on, and we all got to be on different levels. So as a secondary, I'm playing off a little bit, and what we don't want to happen, what we saw in segment one, is all your help's on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and put my defensive backs on the outside right there, okay? Making sure they all understand that all their help is on the inside. Linebackers, Clark, dropping down safeties, Curse, they're all going to be in the inside. So I need these defensive backs to play outside leverage on these receivers, and we'll see if we can get the job done. How is this Washington team going to attack Dan Quinn's defense?
The one thing you have to know about this Washington team is they want to push the ball down the football field. You look at they're tops in the league at 20-plus yard completions in the National Football League, and that's because they have the speed. You talk about Samuels, you talk about Scary Terry, you talk about Jahan Dotson. So you condense this formation because now when I condense my formation, it makes the defense condense, and it allows me to get free releasers. Guys now can actually sometimes mix the confusion of who has who when guys begin to release. So when you look at this play right here, I want to be able to attack because I know that Dan Quinn sometimes with DBs, they play outside, they play man-to-man, but they play off.
Yeah.
So I want that speed to be attacking them up the field and see if we can't get some completion down the field for big plays.
Let's do it. Come on, get under there. Oh, good play, good play. All right. Jay Lou, he's been around the ball a lot lately.
Jay Lou has been having really good couple of weeks, so it's a good play for him right there.
All right, let's see what we're looking. I'm going to go ahead on the defensive side first of all and see what we got cooking over here. I'm going to slide this thing around like that and get to Jay Lou, who did an excellent job in that situation that we talked about earlier. So as you see, these defensive backs playing off on these receivers because of the condensed split. And we all understand where the help is. So right from the bat, Jay Lou does an amazing job of staying on his outside leverage to begin with. As we see right here, Scary Terry McLaurin, who's one of the best route runners in the National Football League, does a great job of making Jordan Lewis turn his head right there and get into what we call a speed turn. If they get you on your leverage out there, you don't want to sit flat-footed. You want to speed turn that thing to get back in phase with the wide receiver. And as we see right here, Jay Lou does an amazing job of tracking the football while in the air, undercuts the receiver right there and makes a great interception. If it was a ball a little bit further out there, we might be seeing a different story right there because Jay Lou, you got to stay on top and you got to stay outside. But athleticism trumps it all. He's able to make a great play right there and get the ball back to the Dallas Cowboys. So let's go ahead and go back to the beginning of the play. And what did you see offensively from this to make you decide to go to Scary Terry McLaurin?
Well, when you look at it right here, of course, Scary Terry, he's always my first option, right?
Yeah,
and in offense, when you have a player of that caliber, he's always your first option. But I see that where Jordan Lewis is playing him, and I'm saying, all right, cool. If he's head up to inside, then I have a little bit of an advantage. So you see right here, Jay Lou is head up on Scary Terry with a slight bit of hedge inside. Look at the man. He's half the man, but he's slightly inside. So when you press play and you go through this play, Scary Terry's driving up the field. Now, stop it right here. I want Scary Terry to give him a little bit of a hint inside towards the post.
Okay.
I want to hit him inside towards the post, and then when we begin to break it out, the ball has to be placed better. A little bit late on the throw, but keep a high angle towards the pylon. Jay Lou makes a great play, but like you said, Barry Church, that's one of those plays you have to make sure you got the interception.
Yes, sir.
Because if that ball placed the pylon like it's supposed to be, that's a touchdown for Scary Terry.
So some of the big plays continue for Jordan Lewis. He's had a great couple of weeks, including an interception against his hometown team in the Detroit Lions this past weekend. Can he do it again against Washington? At least here on Hit Sticks, he was able to get the job done. But when we come back, we turn our attention to the ground game. There are weapons to run the football on both sides of this thing. We talk about the Week 18 matchup on the ground when we come back.
This segment was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
So it's been a couple of weeks where the Cowboys have slowed down two of the better running games in football, the Detroit Lions and the Miami Dolphins. Can they do it again against Brian Robinson and company, as the Washington Commanders will try and run the football with both of their guys, both Gibson and Robinson, talented tailbacks? Can they get the job done? Barry Church, how do you get this run game and continue to slow it down?
Yeah, I think it's all about a mentality. When you talk about the run game, I mean, there's only so many schemes you can do to make sure you stop the run game. At the end of the day, it's going to be man-on-man, bone-on-bone football, and your will versus that opponent's will to get the job done. So as we see right here, I need both of my linebackers, Clark and Bell, in the middle right there, to be downhill guys, to be very aggressive when it comes down to it. And I need my middle guys, Odigizua and Monty Smith on the inside. We need those guys to be able to hold up these offensive linemen, because too many times have we seen these past couple weeks where these offensive linemen are getting to the second level of making our linebackers be in a situation where they got to try to get off of a block of a 300-pounder, and usually that's not going to work. So I need those guys on the interior to hold up those offensive linemen. I need Clark, I need Bell to be sideline to sideline and downhill when you see a run play happen. What about you? What do you think this Washington run game is going to do to go against this Dallas defense?
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to get these guys to the edges. The Cowboys have struggled with setting the edge this year in the running game. And when you have smaller linebackers like Bell, like Clark, who I think Clark may be playing out of position, playing middle linebacker, I want to get some action where those guys get caught up in the wash, right? Okay. I want to get some down blocking, get my guards, my tackles pulling, and that way I can kick guys out and now get up on that second level, and hopefully that Bell and Clark, those guys get caught up in the wash.
All right, let's see what we can get done.
All right, here we go.
Oh, no. We don't want to see that. Let's go check the replay and see what went wrong on this Dallas defense right here. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the linebacker. We talked about Clark right there. Swing it over to the defensive side of the football, and let's see what goes on right here. All right, So as soon as the ball snapped, you see that offensive guard to the right side right there, or the center right there, he's going to go ahead and pull. That should be an indication to Clark to go ahead and hit that gap right on the left side of that center as you see it opening up right there. That gap right there is wide open, and Clark has to be downhill, which he is right here. But we see what the issue was as we see number 99, Golston, right there. He chose to play hero ball, meaning he chose to be on both sides of those gaps. He has to remain in his gap. And if he did that, just that, Brian Robinson will make that cut and run right into him. But as we see right there, Golston decides to swim into Clark's gap, and now we got two defenders in the same gap, and it opens up things for Brian Robinson and this cutback lane right there. Jesse does an amazing job putting a foot in the ground, getting to that cutback lane, as we see it's wide open from there, and these safeties are going to have to make a big-time tackle. We don't want to see that happen, and as you see, number 71 getting up to one of our safeties, Hooker's going to have to make this big-time tackle in the middle of the field. But this is what I'm talking about when you want to play hero ball versus man-on-man and trusting your teammates to do the exact opposite, or to do what they're supposed to do. Golston has to stay in that B gap right there. You got Clark coming downhill into that A gap to fill it up. He doesn't do that. He swims into the A gap, allowing that huge cutback lane for Brian Robinson. He's up 10 yards down the field. We do not want to see that come Sunday. We need a little bit better performance out of our defense.
So there you have it. The run game of Washington can bite this Dallas defense, but can Dallas fight back with their own run game? We talk about Tony Pollard. How do you get him more involved? We've been asking that question all season. We'll talk about it a little bit more when we come back with more Hit Sticks. Another week, another Tony Pollard question. Tony Pollard with just 16 carries for 49 yards in the win against Detroit. It's been a year-long quest to find Tony Pollard some run in this Cowboys offense. We're going to try and do it here on Hit Sticks, and maybe it'll be enough to pick something up for him moving forward. So we've got Tony Pollard in the backfield. You can use him not only as a ball carrier, but as a pass catcher as well. Jesse Holley, time to solve some problems. How do you get Tony Pollard more involved going into Week 18?
Yeah, I know most Cowboy fans are probably screaming at me, don't run the ball at all. Don't run the ball at all. But I don't think that's the solution to the problem. I think one of the things that the Cowboys need to get back to doing more on all their downs is getting a little pre-snap motion in the play. So I got Brandon Cooks right here up top in the slot. I'm just going to slide him across the formation. I want to get that communication on the back end a little bit mixed up. And then I want to take one of my best pulling guards and I want to have him pull out. And I want to get Tony Pollard on the edges. I think he's really good at what we call slow to fast through when he gets the ball on the edges, really reading those holes and then being able to put his foot in the ground and get upfield. We run the play here, get upfield.
Okay. All right.
And that's a good game. If you can start out 2nd and 5 for this Cowboys offense, you put yourself in front of the sticks, and now Dak Prescott and Brian Schottenheimer, and I call him Freaky Mike, they have the playbook is wide open on 2nd and 5, opposed to you now taking a loss trying to run the ball up the middle of the field with no pre-snap action, and now it's 2nd and 9, and you're playing a little bit behind the sticks.
All right, let's see what you thought about this play. Break it down for us. Here we go.
So right now, I think the Cowboys, their best offensive lineman, and I know that you have two probably Hall of Famers in Zach Martin and Tyron Smith. But right now, to me, it's Tyler Smith who's their best offensive lineman. He's the youngest, the strongest, and he does a really good job when you're able to get him out there on the edges and he can maul people. I want to send Brandon Cooks in a little bit of a motion. He's already on the other side already. Get those linebackers to shift over. And now you see you got a combo block right there, steal up to the linebacker. And now as you're playing it through, go ahead, play it. And now Tony Pollard's getting up the field. Tough, strong run for a 5-yard gain. You'll take that any and every time down the football field. 2nd and 5 is way better than 2nd and 9.
Hey, without a doubt. When you get 2nd and 9, that brings passing into it.
Yes.
That brings all of those aspects into it. But when you get down to a 2nd and 5 or a 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, it opens up the entire playbook, and that's where we're seeing these Dallas Cowboys offense be at its best.
So if Tony Pollard can get going in Week 18, possibly a key for the Cowboys going into the postseason. But when we come back, what does Madden think about the final week of the regular season? It's guys versus the games, and we wrap up Hit Sticks next. Welcome back into Hit Sticks as we wrap up this final regular season episode with Jesse Holley and Barry Church. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Let's take a look at what Madden NFL 24 thinks will happen in this final regular season game, and it got off to a quick start as Dak Prescott finds Brandon Cooks in the back of the end zone, 29-yard touchdown, 7-7 our score. Pollard then breaks a big run, 58 yards to the house, 14-7. Dallas takes a lead, and they wouldn't go away from Tony Pollard either. He runs another touchdown, this time from just 6 yards out, and Dallas takes a 2-score lead. They would just take off from there and not look back. Dak finds Jake Ferguson in the end zone. That made it 38-10, and the Cowboys pull this one out 45-17, the final score from FedEx Field. Barry Church, what do you think is going to happen this week?
I agree with Madden. Washington has no incentive right now to win this game. They're trying to get the highest draft pick. This is going to be a blowout. Cowboys 45, Washington 10.
Oh, so very close to what Madden thought.
Yeah, Matt and Barry, we all think the same. I think the Cowboys are going to run these guys out of the stadium. It's going to be a blowout from start to finish. Give me Cowboys 35, Washington 10.
That was the exact score I had in my head. I'm not even going to lie. Cowboys, they win this one far and away, 35-10. I'm with you, Jesse. First time. Great job today.
Yes,
man.
indeed. Yes.
I got a little bit of swag than the other guy that's here. No stupid snapback hat.
Oh!
Let him know.
Let's throw some shots right at the end. I love it. Join us next week for a playoff edition of Hit Sticks. For Barry Church, Jesse Holley, I'm Kyle Yeoman. See you next time.
Cowboys Hit Sticks, presented by Madden NFL 24, was also brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, the official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys, and by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.